It is 6:30 on Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. This is a meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Can I have a motion to call to order?
Motion to call to order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are in business. The first order of business this evening is to approve the minutes of October 18th, 2022.
Motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next order, do we have any meeting mail or anything, Carol, we need to discuss this evening?
Not this evening.
Okay, we're gonna go right into our appointments with our new business, and our first new business is old business, a continuation, the case of Robert Roderick's 15 Oliver Street, Fairhaven, petitioning the board to be able to construct 5 single-family, 1 dwelling for 55 and older housing at Garfield and Hayes Street, request being made under the provisions of section 334E. At the last meeting, we did ask Mr. Rodericks if he could downsize his project a little, and he agreed to ask for a continuance. He's here tonight to propose his new proposal, so Rob, I'll give you the floor.
Okay. Thank you for having me here tonight. My name is Robert Rodericks. I'm the one who owns the property on Hayes and Garfield. A couple years back, I started this process with the town, and the town brought this to my attention that we fell under this zoning in this area, and they were really in favor of me trying to do something other than just put a single-family house there because of the village zoning. With COVID, kind of just dragged on a little bit, and then when things got closer to where we opened up the town hall, I pursued this, and I met with the town planner, and I met with the clerk, and they were, again, really saying that they were under the numbers, and they really needed this type of housing in this area. So that's when I put this plan together and met with the town planner again, and presented it to him with the final stages, and I asked him if he was in support of this, and he was in favor of this thing. So he asked if I'd be open to have a meeting with the neighbors prior to going to the Zoning of Appeals, and I said I would, absolutely. He was going to put that together for me and set up a time with whether the library or somewhere where there'd be a public facility, but unfortunately, I don't believe is with the town anymore, correct? This happened, right?
Yeah.
Right around the time that we had the first meeting, it already come and gone, and I found out that he wasn't there. So I presented them, I came to that meeting that night, and I was kind of like just taken back by everything that was coming at me, but I took into consideration what the neighbors had to say, and parking is a problem, and I get it, but I'm trying to do something that the town's promoting me to do there. So if 5 single-family, 1-level houses for over 55 isn't the answer, I took in, one guy was concerned about Christmas trees and storage, and so I decided to maybe take those same houses, downsize one of the houses, make it the same house, but put a garage under so there'd be a facility for storage, parking, extra parking, and then the second level would be just the 1-level living, same thing, and cut it back to 4. So I could do 4 slab-on grades like I originally proposed. I could do 5 slab-on grades I should say I originally proposed 5 1-level slab-on grades, which I could still do. I could cut it back to 4, and if you guys were leaning towards more storage and more off-street parking, then we could create a garage underneath. And I left that to be determined by how you guys felt about this. So I don't know if that's enough input for you guys for that, but that's where I stand.
Definitely love the idea of a garage under, getting some parking that isn't so congested in that area, where we're already kind of congesting the property with, it's a small single family size lot that we're putting 4 or 5 dwellings on. So I think the garage parking is a great added feature there. Again, I wasn't asking you to do that. I thought maybe some of that other, where you have the proposed common area grass, would be fine for parking too. Just again, to get everything pushed off the street a little. But with the garage unders, house over, I mean, I don't see a picture of it, but if that's what you're proposing,
Yeah,
I like
that
the idea
better
a
too.
lot.
Would it be feasible to do the 5 then?
I'm sorry?
Would it be okay to do the 5?
Well, again, listening to the neighbors and having their issues both with the parking on the street, the extra traffic, the extra, just all the congestion. I love the plan the way it's sitting here in front of me. I do want to hear if there's, obviously, we're here to listen to the neighbors' concerns again as well. They were here at the last meeting, were very concerned about the amount of building we were putting on. Again, it's not a huge difference whether you have 8 cars or 10 cars, but it is a difference. And whether you have 8 vehicles inside, townhouse type of thing where they're off-street and everything's clean, I think makes a huge difference as well, so.
It's gonna be a one-car garage underneath, correct?
It can be 1 or 2, it doesn't, I can make it 2 cars.
Oh, really?
There's enough room to do that, give us a utility room
Oh,
and
Well, that-
give us some storage.
That's what I'm thinking is, if you do raise these up and have 2-car garage with your boiler rooms and everything,
Yeah.
you actually
Yeah,
get more
ideal.
square footage, bigger units, big everything, and
And just so I considered making a parking lot there, but you make it like a commercial space. This why I didn't do it that way. I think
this way it's more like a
I
townhouse.
think it's like a townhouse, and it's a better fit for that neighborhood. And also, when I create driveways, you create no parking where the driveways are, but now we created parking everywhere else there's not a driveway. So right now, it's just an open land on both sides where people can just park down the sides of the road or can't park on the side of the road because there's no defined curb in there or defined driveway or where it is. So
One
we
of
would
the
create-
issues we had, or you had, we didn't have, you had and needed, you basically needed a variance on, though, was for impervious surface. So keeping that area, the proposed grass area, gives you a lot more impervious surface.
Yeah, and we're
So-
still gonna put in the pervious pavers for the
Yeah.
driveways too, to give it that
Put some drainage and some tanks in that area under the lawn.
absolutely, whatever it takes to make it right. It's gonna be a nice, and again, I encourage anybody that they can go look at the properties that I own. And some of them are in Acushnet, some of them are in Fairhaven, most of them are in Fairhaven, but you're welcome to see any of the properties I own and see how they're maintained and taken care of. I'm not gonna build a trash pit over there, I can guarantee you that.
I'm gonna ask, I know there was a lot of abutters here at the last meeting, is there any here tonight that would like to speak about it again, or take a look at the new proposed design, which does show less buildings than the original? No abutters wanna talk? Okay. So, again, I think that's probably because they entrusted that, when we sent Rob back last week, or last meeting, last month, to come back and cut this down a little bit and give us something that was a little more fitting for the neighborhood. I think they trusted we would do that. I do think this
I'm in favor of that, that makes a lot.
makes it work.
Makes a most neighborhoody.
Yeah,
So
very
I'll
nice.
make a motion, I make a
Big
motion.
improvement, yeah.
Make a motion with this improvement, with the drive on the garage,
Two-car garage
kind
underneath.
of underneath it with that common area.
Maybe a car and a half.
Yeah.
I don't, it's gonna be a car and a half to 2 cars, whatever.
Yeah, underneath driving, and the
And we
storage
also,
space.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're also gonna create a association there too, like somebody had mentioned that. So there would be that put into place also, just so everything would be.
Now, how would you create an association? You're not gonna sell anything.
No, but-
According to.
Right, but we're still gonna create, and it's gonna be so things have to be, garbage can't be left outside, it has to be this, whatever it's gonna take to create a condo association, then that's what's gonna be done that way. That was just a concern that one of the residents had, so I'm just bringing up that we'll accommodate it that way.
At the same time, Mr. Knox was here. You guys kind of agreed last meeting that a fence was gonna stay up in between there.
Well,
Is that
the
something
fence-
that's gonna work out?
The fence is, depending on whose property the fence is on, if his fence is my fence and my fence is his fence, if the fence is on the property line, the fence is gonna stay, but if the fence is on my property line, then I can't leave a 20-foot commercial fence on my property. He's gonna have to do something with that. It's really not, and I made that clear that day to him, like, I don't know, neither one of us know where that fence is, because neither one of us has had that line determined where it is.
I guess my question isn't necessarily that fence, but a buffer between the two properties, whereas.
Yeah, we're
he
gonna
is
do a landscaping, we're gonna do a landscape, I'm
Whether
gonna
there's
put some
arborvitae,
kinds of
some
trees,
fencing,
I'm gonna do a green, I'm gonna do a
arborvitae,
green
yeah.
buffer there, absolutely.
I think we, as a board, need to make sure there's a buffer between this residential property and a highly used commercial
Commercial
property next
property,
door.
right, right.
Yeah, make a motion.
We have a motion from Mr. Leonard to accept 4 20 by 40 dwellings with garage and storage space under them,
With a buffer for the commercial
Yeah.
side.
with a buffer up against the commercial area, and more or less the layout we have here before us with the old buildings you had proposed.
There's a gentleman who'd like to ask a question.
We're new to this, I'm sorry, we live on James Street, but we
Okay.
own a piece of property that's attached to that lot, that empty lot that's in back of the,
Are you Mr. Rezendes?
well, that, her mother and
I'm,
father.
yeah, I'm the daughter, and they both passed away,
Okay,
so.
so you own lot 371. You are in a butter. We're happy to hear any of your feelings. Just so you are aware, the proposal last month put another house probably within 20 feet to that area, and now it looks like the closest building they're gonna have to your property is gonna be 50 to 60 feet away.
All right, so
so
they're
they're
not
not-
going on that piece of
There's
property.
nothing gonna be built on your property or even close to it. And if you'd like to come up, I can show you the,
I have
We didn't know if it was gonna be built on that piece of
No.
land.
absolutely not, they can't build anything on your property.
We just want the question before you approve the motion.
Yeah, you wanna see the,
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care because it's an unbuildable lot, I just keep paying taxes on it. I can't sell it,
You probably should approach Mr.
I was gonna say,
Roderickson. I really wanna talk to him.
sure.
I'll talk to you outside.
I mean, it's more bond,
so where is it? Here? Here or
It's the
here?
one that says Resendes, right to the left of your common
Okay,
grass
yeah,
area.
yeah. Okay,
I don't see it.
right here, this is yours, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Lot 371.
All right. Yeah, so this is, if we were to build the other lot, it would be here. So it would still be
Okay.
on our property, not touching yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I don't really care, but.
Okay.
Because the person who bought the house, I guess, over here on this side, just kind of grassed it all over and took it as his own.
No, I
He
wouldn't,
just,
I wouldn't do that.
no, I mean, that's fine, he's taking care of the property, but I'm paying the taxes.
All right, so
And I really can't sell it to anybody. Number one, unless this woman over here wanted it, but I don't, you know, or that person over there wanted to pay for his grass.
Okay.
But I really can't do anything with it, because it's just too small.
All right. Well, do we wanna,
Now, the other thing
You guys
is,
can talk after.
Yeah, we gotta get to this.
I made a motion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. I just want for clarification for Ms. Costa, so she knows what we're proposing is 4
That's what we're talking about.
28 by 40, two-story buildings with garages under. This is for 55 and under, 55 and over, I'm sorry, use only, elderly housing, as our bylaw allows. And
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you need any variances now. Are you good with lot coverage and setbacks and everything? Originally, there was a couple of little issues, but
so the only thing, whatever I asked for is what I need. So I needed the,
Impervious,
yeah, for
which just
the,
helps with not putting that building out, you increase
Right.
that, you're way out of that range, now.
Right.
You need that one anymore.
and there was
That was
the,
like 15%.
oh man, you just, I lost my train of thought here. Give me a minute. So we went for the special permit, and then there was 2 variances that we needed. That should have been all in the application. I don't have that with me, unfortunately.
I don't have the original with me either.
I have it.
Okay. Randy's got it.
That's what I'm trying to make sure, is that we cover your variances.
Yeah, we're
The
definitely,
special permit, there's a motion and second, we're in good shape. your floor area ratio is
Okay,
fine and approved because it is the,
This was last month.
I have the application.
Oh, you got it? Oh,
He was gonna be 15% above the 20% maximum allowable to the floor area ratio, but that is a variance we can certainly allow with the 55 and over. The maximum impervious surface was an issue, but again, we got rid of
By dropping one out.
over 1,200 square feet
Right.
of impervious surface. At the time, we were just over the 15%, so I think if we stick to these 4 buildings and any that were over, you guys agreed to them variances as well.
Yes.
mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. You're all set.
Thank you.
No, we wish you good luck. We do think the 55 and over is a good idea. You know, as you said, the town approached you wanting
Yeah.
some. We do believe in it. We just gotta make sure that it fits the neighborhood.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
thank you.
Just sign.
Yeah, sure.
There you go. Sign
Just one of them?
it. Both of them. You can take one.
Just
I'll
take a minute to
for
look.
tomorrow,
All right.
and
Then take the paperwork before we get started with the next case.
What is this, right?
Yep.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, good night.
Are you interested in that property?
I could be.
Our next case, 20221115A, case of A&M Family Limited Partnership of 150 South Main Street, who's petitioning the board for modification to the existing special permit granted October 2002 to allow the travelway of an extension drive-through to exit onto Hope Street. This being made under the provisions of Section 3. The zoning bylaws. For anyone who's unaware, A&M Family Limited Partnership, otherwise known as Dunkin' Donuts. We're discussing the Dunkin' Donuts parcel this evening. They're here to propose altering the driveway, the drive-through, to exit onto Hope Street versus make full circle and come back into Main Street. I don't know who you are, so I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and let you state your case.
My name is Zach Poison, Bowler Engineering, representing the applicant. We were the site engineer to go through and try and revise how this drive-through worked on site, and also kind of improve the circulation for customers coming in and using the restaurant walking in. What we did here was we basically kept exactly the building almost exactly the same, but we did rotate the drive-through 90 degrees around the corner so that we could then exit drive-through traffic onto Hope Street. Another thing that we did was we pushed all of the drive-through traffic as far to the south of the site as we could. Again, this is just to help separate the drive-through traffic from those that are using the store. What this did was, one, it allowed us to add another parking stall in front of the front of the building, but also because of Hope Street being utilized as the drive-through exit, it keeps the drive-through traffic separate from the walk-in customers. So it's a little bit more inviting for those that want to go in, use the restaurant, pick up, use the mobile order, and all and whatever they need to do in order to get in and out of the site a little bit better. This also allows for cars to be tucked further in, like I said, to the south, so that if there is someone that does, if the drive-through does back up quite a bit, they still have some room to get by and use the store to walk in. Menu board will be staying the same in the same location, and we did include additional parking for employees behind the store. So that would be, again, additional parking that would necessarily be used for customers. We did increase actually from 12 stalls on site to 14 stalls with this design, as well as improve drive-through circulation and site circulation. Another thing that we did was we included the sidewalk area. There's actually going to be part of the program to include an employee on high peak hours, coming out with a tablet to be able to take orders and effectively extend the drive-through menu board further into the site, so they can be taking orders before they even get to the menu board. And that will be, and Carlos might be able to speak to that in a little bit, but also paying at that as well. So again, the whole idea is to just make this one more efficient from a site circulation standpoint, but also, as Carlos will get into, and Eric will be getting into it, from the program inside, also making it more efficient from a standpoint of getting cars through the queue. Overall, we will be adding 6 dedicated employee stalls. Dumpster location will be staying exactly the same. All the other operations will be staying exactly the same. The whole goal is to really just improve that circulation and improve efficiency within the drive-through. McMahon is here to describe a little bit more of the traffic components, so you have a better idea of how we're improving with this. So I don't know if you want to take it back. Sure. I'll get out of the way.
So my name is Maury McHugh. I'm from McMahon Associates. We had completed the traffic assessment for this site, and I'll go through a little bit of the data collection and analysis that we did that's included in the assessment that was provided to you. So we had collected traffic counts at the existing site driveway as well as Hope Street during the morning, afternoon, weekday peak hours, and Saturday midday peak hours. And we identified the morning peak hour as being between 7 to 8 a.m., the afternoon as being between 4:45 and 5:45 p.m., and the Saturday midday being between 12:15 and 1:15. And these peak hours represent the 4 consecutive 15-minute periods when traffic is the highest at those intersections. Also, as part of our data collection effort, we observed queue observations at the drive-through and the driveways, and did some analysis and review of traffic flow at the site. The morning peak hour did have the longest queues observed. On average, there were about 8 vehicles with a maximum observed of about 11. During those times when the queues did back up, we noticed some motorists would actually come in through the exit side if it was backed up to here, and occasionally there would be cars queued on South Main Street as well. But just the existing drive through, the way it comes straight out, does provide some circulation issues at the entrance, and motorists having to navigate to get into this front parking area for mobile or pickup orders when the queue does back up. We looked at the level of service. We identify level of service based on a scale of A to F, and that correlates with the amount of seconds of delay, with an A being 10 seconds or less and an F being over 50 seconds. Generally, level of service C is what's considered to be acceptable, and that's around a 15 to 25 second delay. So we looked at the delays at the existing site driveway, and during that morning peak hour, which again was the highest out of all the peak hours analyzed, the driveway had a level of service D, which was about 26 seconds of delay and a 55-foot queue, and that's for the exiting vehicles. So after vehicles come in through the drive-through and have to loop back around, they do stack up and kind of block this existing parking area, so kind of preventing other people from being able to utilize the parking stalls and get in and out. During the afternoon peak hour, that was a level of service E, which is about 36 seconds of delay, but it had a shorter queue. So there were less vehicles, but they were waiting for longer. And then we also looked at the intersection of Hope Street at South Main Street. It's generally a low traffic road. During all of the peak hours analyzed, it operated at a level of service D or better with less than 30 seconds of delay and in queues of about 1 car or less. And then, as Zach had alluded to earlier, there's site circulation improvements that would make this front area more inviting for motorists to come in and do mobile order pickup or place orders inside of the store, and then having the drive-through traffic exit onto Hope Street instead of loop back around onto South Main Street. Analyzed those improvements in conjunction with the mobile ordering, the tablet ordering in the queues, and then additional improvements inside the store for efficiency in processing the orders. we found that the exiting movement onto South Main Street would have a level of service C in the morning peak hour under the proposed site improvements, which is about 19 seconds of delay with a 1-car queue. So comparing that back to the existing, which was a level of service D and a 26-second delay, 55-foot queue, which is about two and a half cars. So it reduces it down. And then similarly in the afternoon peak hour, about a 40-second delay. A 30-second delay, level of service D with about a 1 car or less queue. So it does improve the queuing for the exiting vehicles onto South Main Street, and then for the drive-through traffic that's redirected to Hope Street, that would operate, again, at acceptable levels of service. Level of service C during the morning peak hour, 33 seconds of delay, about 1 to 2 cars on Hope Street. Previously, it had about 1 car on Hope Street, so it's not adding a significant queue onto Hope Street. And then during the PM peak hour, level of service E with about 40 seconds of delay, and about 3 or 4 cars queued. And we also did look at site distance at Hope Street to South Main Street, and the available site distances all met based on the observed speeds. And similarly, did look into reported crashes over the last 5 years. The crash rates were found to be below the Mass DOT and district-wide averages. Almost 90% of the crashes were property damage only type crashes, fender bender type, no injuries. Any questions? You continuing?
Thanks. John, the further questions, or? Yeah, I'll take care of it. Thank you.
Are you moving on, or I do have questions related to?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to hold them to the end or keep going, or.
I'm just going to talk about some improvements as it pertains to the building itself, which would be probably the briefest part of the presentation.
So I try to keep it brief.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's good information. Just so that I can come in and answer questions as well. My name is Eric Medeiros. I'm with Aronian Associates Architects. We're going to be representing the building portion of this project. So I just wanted to describe the modifications being made to the building, a little bit as it pertains to the Dunkin' Donuts as well. That's kind of going to go hand in hand with the entire process of redoing the site here. So there's 2 things that I want to point out on the building. Number one is that you've probably been in some of the newer Dunkin' buildings around New Bedford as they started to pop up. This is going to be changing to the new Dunkin' scheme. So there's kind of just like a whole new color scheme for the building. It's gray tones. It features new signs, but generally the building's staying as it is. What I wanted to point out is that we're adding an addition onto the back in order to better meet where the drive-through lane where it connects here. So that's just a 5-foot addition off the back of the building, and it's 12 feet wide, which just allows for that drive-through service line to kind of bump forward. If I can flip this around, you can see it's basically a simple shed dormer addition onto the building. You'll see it appear back here with glazing to allow for the employees to have a better view of the guests and their vehicles as they approach. As far as the interior of the store goes, if you walk in the front door today, you're facing the front counter as you walk in. We're actually going to be rotating the brand so that it comes along the side of the building. And in effect, what it's going to do is build everything directly to that window. So 2 things, the beverages will build along the back wall directly to the drive-through window, and sandwiches from the opposite side. Basically, the premise is get all the beverages and sandwiches out the window as fast as you can. The other thing that it does from an interior queuing standpoint is it actually opens the whole front area of the store up to much more visibility for the guests. So today, there's a big wall that hides the sandwich station on one side, and then you have these big, tall front counter pieces. It's all going to be opened up, which is going to allow for the guests to kind of come in, know right where they need to go to order, or to order from a kiosk, which is a new option that Dunkin' is doing, or just pick up their mobile orders. There's a big, glowy pink shelf that's pretty whimsical, but easy to locate your order and kind of get in and out of the store. So just all those improvements are kind of just to speak to, again, kind of moving guests in and out of the site. So I will leave it at that, and then we can get into questions about the site, traffic, etc. Thank you.
Back up.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So, I did read all of this, and I found that I do believe that you will be more efficient in moving vehicles through. I mean, how can you not? Get them in, get them out, you get a little more. My issue comes with safety. On page 7, where you talk about, and you did specify that you were talking about the crashes and that they were below, below the average state rate. But I found it interesting that right now, Hope Street, over the past 5 years, had 15 crashes versus your entrance only had 1.
They are very close, so we use the Mass DOT website, and you can specify radii. It basically, some of the radii may have overlapped, but generally it gives you, between Hope Street and the driveway, the number of crashes over the last 5 years. That's what's been reported in the Mass DOT database.
Again, my issue with that part of the report is that as much as you're congested and backed up at the entrance, there's no accidents there. But we're having accidents on Hope Street, and now we're gonna be adding all the traffic flow over there.
And they could be, and again, it's the Mass DOT website, so we don't have crash diagrams. It doesn't go into the detail of, those could be rear ends just on South Main Street. It's not, necessarily, it could be reference to the intersection, but could be along South Main Street for the slowing traffic, as you said, if there's.
Right, it could be in
It's
result,
it's
it could
actually,
be in result of
Corner of Hope.
what, see, I'm going by my eyeball test, and when you do go by there on the peak times, you see there's an issue going in and out of the same thing. So maybe we don't know. We don't have that data.
that's what I'm saying. By the data here, you would think there's 15 crashes at Hope Street and 1 at the entrance. But what you're suggesting is it's probably more likely that there's 16 in
that area,
same
vicinity.
spot.
It's just not broken out. I mean, we tried to separate them as much as we could on the Mass DOT
'Cause I mean,
website.
obviously, I don't wanna take an area where there's already an issue and add more traffic to it, when we
No.
have an issue where there is no issue. We have had 1 accident right there.
We looked at both approaches, both sides, the eastbound and westbound approaches of Hope Street at South Main Street and the driveway.
Just according to,
Yeah.
I mean, your report, your data says.
That's what's available from the
says
Mass
that
DOT
one.
website.
And that's what we're asked to read here. And
Yeah.
I don't wanna create more of a problem on Hope
Yep.
Street. That's what I'm getting at.
Yep.
I don't know. I kinda don't disagree with the fact that it's probably just whoever's writing
Right.
the
Corner of
thing
Hope.
there is using Hope Street because that's the corner.
Yeah,
Right.
I know I would. Be corner of Hope and Main Street.
No matter what, that's what you'd put.
Because that was the next street.
Right.
It makes me feel a little better about it, to be honest.
A quick question, if I may. How long would the construction take? Probably more for you,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, that's not
And,
a question.
you can stay, I'm just curious how long, you gonna close the place down for a certain amount of time? And how would that disrupt anything, if at all?
So, just with the interior renovations that are going on and building that addition, I would project something along the lines of 4 weeks for construction time. There's a decent amount of these improvements that can be made without actually shutting the store down. I don't really know if there's been any kind of plan to phase construction out. I know that the drive-through could be shut down to build that addition, and we could still keep front counter open. The goal would be to keep the store closed for as short a time span as
Right.
possible, obviously for the owner's sake. So, but yeah, usually these types of renovations with that small addition, kind of the rework of the interior layout, probably about 4 weeks.
As always, I'm gonna ask if there's any abutters who'd like to discuss the matter. Have any input on it, for or against in any way?
No, we're not abutters. We just was curious to see what was gonna go on.
Well, again, my biggest concern was that we were gonna alleviate maybe a little bit of problem at the entrance and create one on Hope Street. I don't know, listening to you guys, I guess I can be swayed that it's probably the same issue, no matter where it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't drink coffee anyway, so I don't go in there.
Lots of
But I
other
go
things.
around the traffic jam. That is, to me, that is the biggest thing, using the same entrance, and it never made sense. I know when it originally was up there, I watched the meeting 6 or 7 years, when it was up, it was a big concern about,
20 years ago.
yeah, 20 years ago.
Been there a while.
Right across the street was a garage door company. There was a lot of different changes there. But the flow, every Saturday, when I do in the area there, there's a jam up there trying to get in and out of that one little bottleneck. So personally, as a construction guy, That makes more sense to get the flow out, and it's gotta be better than what's there right now. Makes more spaces inside, it just uses the whole area a lot better. That's my opinion.
We don't have any abutters. Do you gentlemen
Yeah.
have any more
I
thought
don't
on
know,
it?
sounds like we're gonna make more accidents on Hope Street. Cause a problem there.
I tend to think it may
Yeah,
give issues to Hope Street.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think like I said, the eyeball test is what you just talked about, Charlie. Is just it's just that, I think is, like you said, with the data, I think it all just gets molded in. I don't think it
The
has
majority
anything
of
to
them
do.
were rear ends and.
To me, it just makes sense to go around. That's my
Hope Street's a
opinion.
dead end, correct? Hope is a dead end, right?
No.
No, it does get around,
Yeah.
yeah. One goes-
So it goes by,
It's a long way.
No, it goes up to
Oh, it
John
does have,
Street.
okay, it does go by the lead, okay.
It goes up to John Street, take a
Oh,
look,
so,
all right?
okay, so any homeowner that was really concerned about getting them on, they could always,
You could go up the street.
if there was that much of an issue.
According to the data, most people don't. You're not seeing people do
We
Yeah.
that.
expect
It's
people to go
Legion
back
Street,
out
that's
to
right.
South Main Street, that's where everyone's.
there'd be a
going.
handful that would go.
My
that
thing is
direction.
that makes more sense, just the automatic flow of the whole, the site,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, the
I'm-
bottleneck is horrible.
I'm not against it. I just, I hate to see more of an issue on Hope Street, but I gotta believe that them accidents aren't on the corner of Hope Street, that they are already at Duncan and the thing, because
Neighbors run into work every
I
morning.
drive by every morning as well. Myself, like Chuck, I don't stop for coffee. Never had a cup, but I see the congestion, and if we can help it.
Then again, you may have them come on Hope Street, take a right and go around with, and get off on, what Bonneville's Market used to be.
A bit run the block.
Some of them might go, somebody might think it's a shortcut because there's so much traffic the other way, but
People that know that.
you might get a bottleneck at the other end.
The truth is, the more you diversify the traffic, the better off it is.
yeah,
So-
that's true.
I agree.
And right now, they get,
The one
One
bottleneck.
place.
Right now, it's
One bottleneck.
definitely an issue. I don't,
Well, I make a motion to approve that as drawn.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
aye.
You're all set.
Thank you.
It just makes more sense.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It's just.
Oh, yeah, I'll clean that out.
Building the back up from the drive. Any neighbors can go up.
That does conclude our appointments this evening. Do you gentlemen have anything else we need to discuss before we adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Oh, there is a case for next month.
Okay, we do have a case next month, and I would love to give you a date if you don't mind.
I found it.
So everybody can plan.
Yeah.
So,
That's irrelevant.
I'm not sure.
It's not mine, so. A little pocket one? Okay, yeah. I bought one. I wasn't sure how bright it was gonna be. I got it. Is it?
Yeah.
So,
I did test it.
In December, it's gonna be the 20th.
I feel like it would be pretty.
I don't see any big issue. It's not really, Christmas falls on a Sunday, like almost a full week after, 5 days after, so. Why don't we just keep it short, December 20th, and have that meeting. We did have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? We did have a second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.